Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome back to Project Manchara. We have a great episode laid out for you guys today. I have one of my very good friends, Fatma, on for the episode today. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about how life has been different due to COVID 19 and how we've had to adapt and sort of change things up with online learning. So we're going to be talking about how life has been different because of online learning, the pros, the cons, and then how basically life is supposed to go on forward. We're obviously going to be talking from the perspective of Pakistani students. So this may or may not be applicable to international students watching right now. But in any case, before we begin, I'm going to kick it over to Fatma so she can introduce herself to you guys, and then we're going to get right to it. Fatma, if you could please.
Hi, my name's Fatma. I'm a LUMS first year student. So excited to be here because Abbas has been begging me to be here. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. So long. I'm just really excited for this podcast. I think it's going to be great. Let's
Awesome.
start.
Awesome. Yeah. So it's interesting that we actually ended up picking this topic because Fatma and I have been actually talking about it back and forth on private chat and then also online about the positive and negatives of online learning. So, Fatma, you've personally not been enjoying your time online, right? Could you talk a little bit
Yeah.
about it with your experiences and give the viewers a sort of insight into how it's been for you personally, your first year of university being online?
Yeah, so I've been online for my entire first semester, but even before that, because A2 was mostly online for me, so I've not seen school in, I guess, more than a year now. So that's
Hmm.
a lot. So obviously, for me, university was something I really wanted to go to, especially because I was not going to be here in Karachi. So to be stuck here was not something I planned. So it's not something I really wanted either. And to be stuck here indefinitely really sucks. You
Hmm.
know this because you know me personally, and
Hmm.
I've been someone who's been wanting to leave since I was 8 years old. So to be
Hmm.
stuck here doesn't feel really well. But I also understand why I'm stuck here. It's not really something I can like fight. It's not just me, right? It's everyone. But you know how most people had a little bit of normalcy, like IBA opened up, Habib opened up for a bit. Even my brother went to
Hmm.
school. I've been just at home sitting on exactly this position and just doing assignments since I don't know forever. So it just feels like unfair. I don't
For
want to be
sure,
here
yeah.
anymore. Yeah. So that's
So
pretty much it.
I think similarly, I mean, obviously, I haven't been doing it probably as long as you have, but I think from Jan of last year, not Jan actually,
Mm-hmm.
from late Feb, I think that's when we've all been on online as well. So my university shifted there as well. For those of you joining for the first time, I am a second year law student. My life sucks. Basically, basically, so I had a majority of my second semester of law school online, and so far first semester of second year law school has also been online. So life has been a little different, right? I mean, we've had to take classes online. We haven't been able to interact physically with anyone for the most part, unless absolutely necessary. So I think we should, I think, just dive right into the main topic, right? So me and Fatma were actually talking about this yesterday on a Twitter thread wherein Fatma was talking about how it's difficult in to be completely honest, you said it was unfair, or just it didn't
Yeah.
make sense that people didn't want to go to school, and that's basically where I interjected and gave in my opinion. So Fatma, maybe you could just take us from there only, like just talk about your viewpoint from there only.
Yeah, so basically, what I was saying was that I saw this a lot on Twitter. Everybody was like really against the idea of school opening, and I'm pretty sure you saw this also
Mm-hmm,
about
mm-hmm,
after even Shafkat Mahmood posted a tweet saying like, I don't understand why you guys are taking this so negatively. Like even
mm-hmm,
for I don't know, for me, I was like, wow, you guys really don't want to go to school like that. That just seems so weird. Because like
mm-hmm,
me, I've been wanting to go to like that's also because I'm a nerd and I really do
mm-hmm.
like enjoy school. I am that
Mm-hmm.
person who enjoys school. But I was like, wow, you guys really don't want to go to school? And then Abbas is like, yeah, people hate school. I hate school. And I'm
I
like,
mean,
okay. I mean, I guess you're right, but I want to go to school.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
think for instances like this, we do have to look at like both sides of the story, right? Ek
Hmm.
to, when you have the people who don't want to go to school, there's a good chunk of them that don't want it for the right reasons. But as I point out, there are quite a few who do want it for some good reasons, right? One of
Yeah.
the biggest issues with going back to school right now is we are recording this in early days of Jan.
Hmm.
Exams are very, very near, especially for
Yeah.
students who don't follow like the semester system. Exams are very near. They're probably going to have them either in April or May, so it's very, very soon, like literally in a
Yeah.
month or two. So having had online classes for the better part of a year or maybe even 2 years now,
Hmm.
it's going to be very difficult to, adapt to physical learning all over again. And then having physical exams from an
Yeah.
coming from an online medium is obviously going to be very difficult. And we've obviously established that online learning hasn't been the best for a majority of students because it's
Yeah.
obviously not the same. There's not enough interaction. There's not enough constant feedback coming in. So it's difficult. Not a lot of people have enjoyed it. Not a lot. I think most people haven't enjoyed online
Yeah.
learning. And for the most part, I think I agree. I haven't enjoyed it for the most part. But, at certain points, I did appreciate it because of like my second point of the argument, wherein online learning has provided people like me with an opportunity to actually showcase what we learned throughout the year rather than not being able to during the exam. So I'm a firm believer of the stance that exams should not be our only medium of testing, because exams are really bad for a lot of students, because a lot
Yeah.
of students like myself suffer from anxiety, and you have that one bad day during an exam, and that's समझो पूरे साल की मेहनत just completely
Yeah.
down the drain. So because of online learning, my examination board, the University of London, had to shift online as well. Granted, it took them a while, but they eventually figured it out, and we had online
Hmm.
examinations like the rest of the world. And that provided me with an opportunity to finally be able to be in a testing environment that was comfortable, that was to my own design, and I
Hmm.
could finally show the world, listen, this is what I can do. I've been the sort of person who has struggled on and off with testing for, I don't know how many years it's been. I think it's probably been since like the sixth grade. And no one really picked up on it. My O level school never really picked up on it. They didn't care for it that much. The only point in time where I really picked up on the fact that this is not due to my own inability to study or something. It was literally just because the examination format didn't suit me. This is something
Yeah.
I picked up on in Cedar College, because the counselors that we had personal counselors for each individual student, and they helped me understand this thing. Hey, listen, it's not your fault. You are great. You are good, but format doesn't work for you. So
Yeah.
after I don't know how many years, this was the first instance where I've actually gotten really good grades, and I was proud to tell my family, "Okay, listen, I worked my ass off, and I got good grades for it." You know,
Yes.
granted, I do feel like I got cheated out in one of my subjects, but can't have everything, I guess. But I feel like that's one of the arguments that is presented now. Okay, where having to adapt and provide people with more opportunities to earn their grades, or even in an online format. Granted, there's the whole argument that, a majority of these people are just cheating, or they're copying, they're getting
Hmm.
other people to do it. Sure, but you're also discounting the people who are actually putting in the work. So
Yeah.
I feel like there's quite a few ways that this entire narrative is forming, right?
Yeah.
Personally, I wouldn't mind going back to school despite not enjoying university, because it's just not my forte, to be quite
Yeah.
honest. But I have grandparents who are extra at risk. Oops. I feel
Sorry.
like our special guest wants to pop in for a bit.
Okay.
So I personally have grandparents who are extra at risk. My dadi is suffering from cancer at the moment. She's going through her treatment and whatnot. I don't want to go to university and risk her health for it. My nani is also at extra risk because she recently went through quite a bit on her side, and her health has always just been on an up and down because of it
Yeah.
since. So I don't want to take that risk. I don't want to go back to university and just risk their health. And
Yeah. Of course.
I also understand that a lot of people don't want to stay in anymore because not everyone has that sort of environment at home to allow them to learn. That
Yeah.
was one of my biggest concerns with online learning and online examinations, because initially the University of London wanted to have online examinations, but they wanted to have them monitored. So webcam on, microphone on,
Yeah.
and I'm just typing in this square. if I move out of this square, that's a penalization. If I move out of this, if I look out of this square, that's a penalization. And now my biggest issue was I don't have the environment where I can constantly be sitting like this. Right now, I'm at least using earphones. So the majority of what you're listening to is probably me and probably a little bit of the birds in the background. But my house is very, very
Yeah.
loud most of the time, right? Something that you can also relate to. But
Yeah.
more often than not, we don't have these sorts of environment where we can just sit in our rooms locked for 3 hours and just go like, oh, I'm giving an exam, don't bother me. फिर भी होता है. I've had my mom walking
Yeah.
into the exam पता नहीं कितने times at this point now. हो गया नहीं
I
हुआ
get
है
that.
भाई
I
नहीं
get
हुआ है.
that. I completely
तो
get that.
I can understand that
Yeah.
people want to go, and obviously for students who got stuck here and were planning to leave the city or leave the country, even I can understand how disheartening it is, because obviously you've worked your butt off for the past 2 years or year, however so long, and now you're getting the short end of the story. You're not able to go. So
Hmm.
could you just tell us a little bit how your experience being online has now affected your otherwise plan of how life is supposed to be different, going to lumps and whatnot?
Yeah, I just want to say something about what you said. We also have exams like they're online with the camera and mic on and everything, and people have still been cheating like anything. And our
Hmm.
means are so high. We are
Hmm.
relatively graded. I'm pretty sure you
Hmm.
are also, right? So
No, so
when you're
mine is
relatively,
different, I think.
you guys are
I never
different.
understood the whole
Okay,
grading system, to be quite honest. So just keep going.
honest, honestly, me neither. And I go to this uni, so we're relatively graded. So it's like kind of how the Cambridge exams are. There's like a
Hmm.
threshold, I guess you could say. I don't know, to be honest. So that's
Hmm.
how we're graded, and because people cheat, and it's easy to cheat online because there's all these different ways you can,
Hmm.
I don't know, cheat, especially
Hmm.
for math and stuff. And
Hmm.
I'm not good at math, but I try very hard to do my exams. And these people have been cheating, and the means are always high, and I don't know how. I still got a B, but I'm
Hmm.
not a B student. You know this.
Hmm. For
I
sure, yeah.
I don't like B's. I don't like
Hmm.
B's. So I was just like, how? Like, how can you have a mean that's like out of 50, the mean's like 45? That doesn't make
Hmm.
sense. Like, you cannot be that. No one's that smart. Okay, no matter
Hmm.
how smart you are.
Hmm.
So that's one thing I don't like about the online thing. And our teachers aren't really the most accommodating. Like, we
Hmm.
had this, I've been above mean in a lot of my components, and I still got like a really weird grade. And I complained, and she was like, yeah, well, it's my discretion. I was like, it's an online semester. You're not supposed to
Hmm.
be like this. I feel like teachers really just have stopped caring. I mean, I feel like
Hmm.
that they never cared, but like they just stopped
Hmm.
caring. So that's one thing I was really like, I don't like about the online. I mean, I'm still online for this next semester, even if LUMS
Hmm.
does open. I think they're only opening hostels. My classes
Hmm.
are still online. But like, I feel like for me, I just don't want to be here because it's really hard for me to study here. It's really hard because my dad's very strict also. I don't really get to leave my house. I don't really get to meet people. I also understand why, because just like you, even my daddy is quite old, and I live with her. Then I also have a little sister, so I have to be careful. But still, my dad does go for work. My brother does go out, but I don't get to go out. So for me, like, I really wanna be able to at least live on my own terms. That's probably the
Hmm.
main reason why I wanna go to LUMS so bad.
Hmm.
Even if it's online, like I don't care if
Hmm.
it's online as long as I'm not here. I know that sounds so bad. My
No,
parents
no,
are
no.
very
It's
nice.
it's it's no, it's understandable, right? Because for a
Yeah.
lot of people, they need that sort of um. What do you? How would you decide? So basically, they
I
need that sort of space, right? They need that space
yeah.
to evolve. They need that space to learn. And I personally believe getting the opportunity to live on your own is something that everyone should get to experience at least
Mm-hmm.
once in their lifetime, because it allows you to properly learn how you're sort of going to fare in the world outside, right? Because growing
Yeah.
up, we've always been sheltered by our parents, whether it was in terms of money, whether it was in terms of living situation, food, all of that jazz, right? Even when
Yeah.
you and I are working, a lot of our friends from Cedar are working right now and they're earning their own
Yeah.
wages, they're not really taking care of themselves in
Mm,
terms of everything else like daily life.
yeah.
So that's one of the things that we end up learning when we move out, कि
Mm-hmm.
budgeting कैसे करनी है, पैसे बचाने कैसे
Yeah.
हैं. Because right now all of the money I get, let's say from my allowance for even my photography business, um, a lot of that just goes back into spending into the business or just for junk food or whatever, right? उसमें से वो जो saving
Oh,
हो
it's
रही है,
sad.
that's like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's like a couple thousand that are just going into my bank account. And although that's great, I'm proud of myself for being able to do that. A lot of that money wouldn't really help me survive in the normal world.
Yeah.
So that's something that I feel like everyone should get to experience at least once in their life. And it's very interesting that you would point out that a lot of teachers are being very difficult during this time, and it's something that I've personally been seeing a lot on social media. Teachers being
Mhm.
constantly very strict, teachers not being as accommodating, and I
Yeah.
feel like this is something that has been happening for the longest time already, but it's now just getting more highlight because of the atrocities that people are facing on a daily basis, and teachers are being called out for it more often now, right? So personally, with Cambridge, just as an example, I think तुम्हारे A2 के results थे, right? The ones that they did online, जो इन लोगों ने, what was it? The based off of the predicted grades that they did. Was this A2 or was that AS for you? That was A2, I think, right? Yeah. Are you back with us?
Can you hear
Hmm.
me? Hello.
Yeah. So I was asking you, the predicted grades wala system that they implemented Cambridge, that was doing A2 for you, right? We seem to be having a bit of technical issues. We're just going to resolve these and get right back with you guys. So please do bear with us. And we're back. Okay, so Fatma, basically, I was trying to ask you, the whole predicted grade system that Cambridge implemented, that was for A2, unless I'm mistaken, right? For you.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically,
Yeah.
we've had instances like these where Cambridge or even a lot of other professional grade qualifications would often cheat students out of the grades that they rightfully deserve. And that was something that was seen very evidently with the Cambridge predicted grades in the first instance. And then when the students ended up appealing about it later on, the grades changed very drastically. So I feel like that's
Yeah.
a very prominent example of how many students are often cheated out of the grades when the regulation board is obviously not in the country of origin. That's a very difficult platform for a lot of people to suffer in, right? That's something that a lot of people in the University of London LLB exams also faced, but we weren't fortunate enough to get to see, or at least like we weren't able to witness the sort of justice that you guys got, and it was very
Yeah.
difficult on many of us because we obviously had to adapt in a very similar manner, and it could be argued that our padhai was difficult to the same level or whatever, right? So it was very difficult on
Mhm.
all of us, and it's upsetting to see others getting justice where we're not. So yeah, I feel like this was a very prime example of how often students are cheated out of the grades that they genuinely deserve during normal times, and this was only now just highlighted because of online learning.
Yeah.
Okay, these are sorts of instances that we go through on a daily basis. So I'm just going to mention like a story that happened for me in AS, and I think we just continue on from there. But in when I was in AS, I saw a lot of from our batch going through something very weird, which was KES results. I saw a lot of people sitting in October, November for retakes. And it was just
Mhm.
so weird to me because I was like, yeah, ये AB वाले students हैं, ये retakes में क्या कर रहे हैं? Some of them got C,
Yeah.
some of them got D, some of them even failed. And it's so confusing to me because August में आते हैं आपके result, right? September, October, November. सितंबर का पूरा मंथ let's take it from August only. August का पूरा महीना just straight up depression, no पढ़ाई is going on. September में you're spending the
Mhm.
entire month figuring out what the plan is, आगे क्या पढ़ाई करनी हो सकता है September end तक थोड़ी सी पढ़ाई हो जाए. October में आपकी actual पढ़ाई होती है, so that's like 1 month, and for some people that's probably not even the entire month because I think October से शुरू हो जाते हैं ना CIEs unless I'm
Yeah.
mistaken, either the
Yeah.
start or
Yeah.
mid
Yeah.
of October. तो समझो कुछ लोगों के पास महीना या हो सकता है पूरा वो भी नहीं था पढ़ाई करने के लिए. And Fatma, I kid you not, October November का result आया Jan में. All of these kids who are failing or getting C, D's, E's and U's, ये सारे A और B लेके बैठे हुए थे.
Yeah. I
And
remember this.
And it's the stupidest thing because I'm just like, are you kidding me right now? कि आप एक महीने के चलो 3 महीने की भी पढ़ाई लेके आप कह रहे हो कि इन लोगों ने ए ले आए अगर बंदा फेल हो रहा है तो देयर इज समथिंग दैट्स गोइंग रॉन्ग राइट लाइक उसने कुछ तो गलत किया होगा ना ऐसा हो नहीं सकता कि उसने पता नहीं क्या पूरा पेपर या गलत ही किया था या उसको कुछ आता नहीं था तो उसने कुछ भी नहीं किया और वो 3 महीने में ही फिक्स्ड गोइंग फ्रॉम अ यू टू एन ए logically that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
So
yeah, you're right.
it's difficult
You're
to
right.
sit in these sorts of situations where you see kids going through this in normal times, but now that it's online, we have evidence now. And it's the most hilarious thing because हमारे LLB के जो exams थे उसमें हमने online submission की, so everyone already has all of their scripts. So if we felt like कि हमारे
Yeah.
grades were not justified, we sent them to our teachers. We're like, आप check करके बताओ. I personally went through this where I got my paper checked by a separate teacher. So on my contract law exam, I got it checked by a different teacher, not the teacher who taught me. So this new teacher doesn't know me. I mean, they know me because of interactions. We've spoken a few times in university, but they haven't taught me at all contract law. I got him to check my examination, and he's like, "Dude, you should have gotten at least this much grade." So they very clearly dropped me at least by a grade, and this was something that I made like an entire post about, and it
Yeah.
went a decent amount of viral, but it's still, we're in that sort of situation where on a regular basis kids get cheated out of their grades. So अब ये देखो ना कि how bad is it online, but then you also have the alternate story where kids like me are finally getting an opportunity to actually get good grades again. So I feel like
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a toss up, right? कि we're just stuck in this, oh, it's bad, but it's also good. तो
Yeah,
जाए
like it
कहाँ,
has
right?
its benefits for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like it does have benefits for sure. Like even I understand that, someone like me, um, I the opportunity to do like paid work on this side, I don't think I would have had that if I was
Mm-hmm.
in uni right now.
Mm-hmm.
Being a full-time uni student is hard. So being
Apart from
online
that,
gave me a
also
bit of
like,
free time.
mm-hmm. Yeah, you
Hmm.
continue.
No, you were saying it's okay, I finished.
Yeah, so I feel like it though just with it being hard, I feel like it's also very time consuming, right? Like I personally know students from all over. I know kids in Habib, Lums, Ivy. Since I mentioned Habib first, I think with Habib students, I feel like their life starts and ends in Habib. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but like it's the
Yeah.
amount of work and commitment that university often takes. You genuinely don't have time for anything else, even if you want to. And that can
Yeah.
again be a good and bad thing, but like you mentioned, Kay, the good in this aspect is being Kay, with it being online, you have time for other things. You have time for your paid work, you have time for your study blog that you maintain. If you guys aren't following Fatma's study blog on Instagram, you guys should definitely check that out. We're going to be linking it down in the description below.
Yes, plug it.
Yes, of course. So it's interesting, right? So one of the things that I wanted to actually talk to you about is you are not the sort of person who is that into extracurriculars even during theater times, unless I'm mistaken, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
how
you're
have you
right.
sort of adapted to that with university life? Like obviously university being online, you can't really do extracurriculars as such. So how has that sort of affected you as a person or whatever?
So yeah, I'm not really like a society person, but I did join some societies because I wanted to make friends because it's hard making friends online. But I was like, if I join societies, I'd have to do work with people. It'll help me. I'm not the most social person, I'd say, but it
Mm-hmm.
helped me make friends. So I
Mm-hmm.
did. I joined a bunch of societies. It's fun. Like it's different for me because I've never really been a part of. I wasn't in Cedar in any society. Not that I remember. Yeah, I wasn't. I wasn't. So like it's I don't even remember. But like it's nice. It's different because it's work, and B, like there's so many nice people who I have had a chance to be friends with, which I wouldn't have if I wasn't in society. Like people who are juniors, seniors, not exactly my grade, but really cool people. So it's fun. I like it. I mean, it's different for me, but I
Mm-hmm.
like it. I wish I'd done it sooner, but it's nice. What about you? Have you been doing extracurriculars except this podcast?
So, apart from obviously YouTube, I've been trying to manage my society in DMEC. I am the president of the Film and Photography Society. So, obviously, my society being online, it's obviously not working out,
Yeah.
because the literal entire premise of the society is to do practical stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So it's been difficult for us because we've tried to do online workshops and we've tried to have like regular meetings online with members, but it's difficult because one of the biggest things being कि एक तो आपके सारे स्टूडेंट्स अलग अलग डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं तो trying to manage with everyone's classes,
Mm.
that's a really big headache. And then generally trying to have a society that's based on practical work online is just not that fun, to be
Mm.
quite honest. And then
I
trying
bet.
to communicate and work with uni admin has just been very, very difficult in and of itself. So we're trying to constantly do whatever we can, but at the moment it doesn't seem like the society is succeeding in the direction that me and my vice president were hoping for it to take. So it's not fun, to be quite honest. One of the biggest things being we're not able to go outside, though all the things
Yeah.
that we'd planned has not been able to happen. We're still holding out hope by the end of March it's a little better, hopefully,
Inshallah.
because last year I was actually the vice president of the society, and I got an opportunity to hold a art and photography exhibition in TMEC, roughly around this time only. Actually, like late Feb only. I kept it last year. So I'm hoping if things are better this time around, I can do it again, because last year's was a very big success, despite Corona having just started to come into Pakistan
Yeah.
and Karachi at the time. We still had quite a few people coming by. So I'm hoping this time around, with things getting slowly better at times, kabhi kabhi jo lagta hai, we'll be able to hold it, and a good amount of people will come by, because a lot of good people are part of DMEC and they have a lot to show, but we usually don't get a platform to do it. So that was my aim with the society and then the exhibition as a whole, to provide people with this sort of platform where they can come and show their work when they wouldn't rather be able to.
Yeah. Makes
So
sense.
yeah, and then just not being able to do that at all, that's disheartening. But
Yeah.
सब मैनेज कर रहे हैं तो थोड़ा थोड़ा हमें भी करना पड़ेगा. But
I know.
yeah, so I think the original point of contention being Shakun Mahmood's announcement that, oh, no one is going to pass this year without what did
Uh,
he say, examinations, or did he say physical examinations?
no, he said examinations. That I think so. That's what he said. The
Right.
tweet, right?
So yeah. So like it was his first tweet, and then the whole, oh, schools are going to be open from in a couple of
Hmm.
weeks. So that's what happened. So I think one of the biggest reasons why people reacted difficult, no, that's not the right word, differently than what they were hoping for, is again
Mm.
online padhai and then physical exams. Big
Yeah.
difference, right? And people like you and I, we've already seen how online examinations go, right? And then उसमें
Mm.
ही जो मसले हो चुके हैं, where like I mean जो भी drawbacks है, right? Like हमने online पढ़ाई जब हमने apply की online examinations में, despite all of our resources being available to us in an open book sort of format, अगर उसमें भी difficulty हो सकती है, तो imagine just going back into that sort of environment right now.
That's true. Yeah.
And then one of the biggest issues that you also highlighted is that a lot of these teachers, they're not really the most accommodating right now, and they're not
No.
really helpful, which is one of the biggest concerns that a lot of people have been mentioning over the years. Is that university teachers, and then teachers, I feel like in general, are often not very helpful. It's it's weird to me that you would enter a sort of profession which literally has you as a caretaker of sorts, right? And you're not willing
Yeah.
to provide that care. But I get that it's your job and you don't need to go out of your way, but sometimes I feel like they're not even fulfilling their job, to be completely
Yeah,
honest.
you're exactly right. I completely agree with what you said. I feel like with me for A levels, I had a really great amount of teachers, like really helpful, good teachers. But for uni, it's just there's also this disconnect. They don't know us, we don't know them. I've never even seen most of my teachers because we don't really
Hmm.
have like classes which are interactive. So it's like this
Hmm.
really big disconnect. So when you do reach out to them, they're just like it's easy for them to not care about our concerns or
Hmm.
anything. Like even with my teacher with the grade and everything, and she was like ab to maine grade de diya hai. Like you have the discretion to change it. You have the you can make our lives easier, but you choose not to. So that
They
really
choose
does
not
suck.
to. And I feel like with a lot of these teachers, even the teachers who are trying their best, they're not really fit for online education. Online
Yeah,
education is very different from, normal physical classes,
yeah.
because it's a completely different medium. It's a completely different sort of outlook on life. And personally, something that I have really struggled with is the fact that my class is has shrunk drastically. A majority of people don't take online classes, and when they do,
Yeah.
they don't really say anything or do anything. The teacher's asking questions. वो बेचारी एक सवाल 5 दफा पूछती है, कोई जवाब नहीं देता, फिर वो end में खुद जवाब दे देती है. So
Yeah.
I started this year with going like, okay, I want to do well. I want to be all of my teachers' favorite students. I'm the de facto favorite student because no one else takes classes. So
Yeah.
it's for one thing, it's very disrespectful, and for me, it's just upsetting, because this is not how law school is supposed to be. You want to have like a fun, engaging conversation, even if it's not about the topic at hand. We're
Mhm.
supposed to be engaging, but online class में जी मिस आपकी आवाज कट रही है, okay, bye, and then they just never join back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I also have faced, especially because I have a few classes in which attendance isn't mandatory. You
Mm-hmm.
don't need to turn your cameras on. So, like, even me, I've been like, okay, I'll just take the recorded class. It's not
Mm-hmm.
the same, like being
Mm-hmm.
in live class, it does make a difference. But, when teachers are like, really like, yeah, just take the recorded class, it's fine. I'm not taking class. Like, here's the recorded lecture. I'm like, okay, if my teacher doesn't care, why should I?
Mm-hmm.
And it does suck. It does really suck, especially because I have a lot of older teachers, so they
Mm-hmm.
are pretty bad with technology, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really sweet that they're trying, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't work. It doesn't
Yeah, and then फिर
work.
उसकी वजह से the biggest impact being कि the education is getting impacted. फिर उस
Yeah, for
situations
sure.
में it comes down to how is the university supposed to adapt. So one of the suggestions that I personally gave was कि you find people who give the lectures, and then फिर बाकी पढ़ाई जो करवानी वो आप किसी और बंदे से करवाओ, जो आपका मेन बंदा है
Hmm.
उससे पढ़ाई करवाओ, या उससे सिर्फ आप लेक्चर्स दिलवाओ, और दूसरे बंदे से आप पढ़ाई करवाओ. Because those are
Yeah.
two different things, right? Giving the lecture is one thing, but actually helping students understand the content or the lecture material, that's different. Because
Yeah.
you can't have these same people doing both things right now, because with an online format you have its own sets of challenges. And
Hmm.
being in Pakistan, I feel like one of the biggest issues that you and I have is Wi-Fi. We don't have the best
Hmm.
Wi-Fi connection, right?
We just saw
You guys
that.
have, yeah, exactly. You guys have already seen that once in this episode. So
Yeah.
that's one of the
It's
biggest
hard.
drawbacks. We're not able to provide the same level of quality or even assurance that many students online might have, right? Because Bharat ka Wi-Fi is allegedly better than ours, but it's difficult to maintain a steady stream of Wi-Fi and then a steady
Even our
bandwidth.
light, our light goes so much.
That was one of the
It,
biggest
it
issues that Pakistani students brought up to the UOL कि भाई हमारे पास लाइट बहुत जाती है गर्मियों में. इट्स लाइक कि आपके पास अगर दिन में 24 घंटे हैं, उसमें से आपके पास 22 घंटे लाइट नहीं है, और उस 2
actually.
घंटे में हम सो रहे होते हैं जिसमें लाइट होती
Honestly,
है.
it is a problem. It is. One of my exams, my light went during my exams. I was panicking. I literally turned on my Edge on my phone, like hotspot, and I gave my exam. I don't know how, but and LMS was doing its own thing, crashing and
Mhm.
everything. I was just like, mm. But the one thing about my uni is LUMS is in this weird denial where they think online is working completely fine for them, and they love it, and it's a medium that everyone is satisfied with, because for some reason people don't really tell the admin that I don't know why, but like the admin is just convinced that there's no problem with online and that it's working completely fine for some reason. I don't know why, even
I
though
feel
I'm
like
pretty sure.
one of the reasons why they might be in this sort of bubble of their own is ek to they're actually in denial because it's benefiting them more. They're
Yeah,
able to earn the same amount of money that they would with a regular sort
100%.
of day, but without the actual sets of challenges of then LUMS doesn't have to worry about you guys eating on campus because
Hmm.
there's no
Yeah,
need.
you're
तो
right.
समझो एक उनका कॉस्ट कट गया वहां से, they still have to pay those same people, or maybe they don't, but एक बड़ा कॉस्ट कट गया ना उनका. They don't
Yeah.
have to maintain power for a majority of the buildings on campus. Rent फिर भी पे कर रहे हैं अपना वो, but power का bill कट गया ना significantly. So
Hmm.
it's a lot of benefit to them. And then another reason why I feel like they might be in that bubble is because people are genuinely not complaining. I've been
Hmm.
part of that sort of group where we're just like, यार छोड़ो क्या फायदा बताने का, because बहुत दफा ये होता है कि a lot of our complaints are falling on deaf ears. वो एक कान से
Exactly.
सुन के दूसरे कान से निकाल देते हैं. And कभी कभी होता है, you do find people who are putting in the effort and are willing to learn and just help you with what you need, but more often than not we don't find that sort of thing. Then maybe, I mean, I feel like these are the two obvious reasons why LUMS or
Yeah,
even any potential university would be like, oh no, online is going great,
yeah.
it's fine, आप results check करें, results बच्चों के check करें, straight A's हैं हर जगह. I'm like, हाँ मैं
Yeah.
भी फिर किताब खोल के A ला सकता हूँ. तो
Mm-hmm.
it has its
Exactly.
own sets of challenges, but I honestly, I'm gonna say it, I would want online examinations, at least for LLB for 2021 as well, because I got more out of these exams than I would in person, to be completely honest. Being an LLB student is leaps and bounds different than being any other sort of student in the world right now, because for one thing, एक तो हमारे examinations are really dumb, to be completely honest. It doesn't make sense to me कि आपको आपकी resources allowed नहीं होती exam में, because जब मैं court जाऊँगा मेरे पास इतनी मोटी थप्पी होती है किताबों की और notes की मेरे साथ कि अगर मैं कुछ भूल जाऊँ या जज कुछ मांगे तो मेरे पास हो. मुझे सिर्फ एग्जाम्स में, and this is for some exams, मुझे सिर्फ इतनी सी बुक मिलती है केस लॉ की, इसमें केसेस मेरे मेंशन हुए हुए. That's all I'm allowed, and that's only in some subjects के exam, not all of them throughout. So I feel like it's really, really stupid. And then with our exams this year, obviously we had all of our resources available to us, and they obviously graded it as such. But it is what it is, right? It did help a great deal to have your resources available to you. And I personally feel like although it had its own sets of issues and problems, if they were to continue to work on this sort of thing and continue to get better at it, I feel like this could be a great alternative, especially for students studying abroad. um,
Mm.
because for those of you tuning in right now who don't know what the university plan is, it's a very similar program to Cambridge, except for university. And basically, it allows you to give your examinations very similar to Cambridge. British Council ke center mein jate ho, you give your exam, they test it, and then a couple of months later, you get your results. I feel like a great alternative for online students or students just in different countries than the UK is just to provide us with online examinations. It would be much easier. It's eco-friendly, and then I feel like it should also be faster, because if your computers are already scanning whatever we're writing, अगर आपको typed out documents मिल रहे हैं, that should just be better.
That's true.
Granted, it would come with the issues of verification, making sure कि the student जिसने आपको चीज भरी है is that the same student who's registered with you. I understand that is a concern, because you don't want to just give a degree out to.
But that happens regardless. I've seen people give SATs for other people. So
Oh,
an
dude,
SAT
it's
is,
super legit. It's super legit.
yeah, it happens. So
If any of you
I
have
mean, you
seen
can't.
Suits, you've seen Mike Ross do it
Hmm,
multiple times for different people. He
yeah,
made a living out of it.
actually, yeah,
So it's the
that.
dumbest thing ever. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's the
but then
dumbest
people
thing
do
ever.
it.
देखो
So you can't
cheating
really.
cheating हर तरीके से होगी, whether it's
Hmm,
in-person exams or online cheating, हर तरीके से होगी. The fact that you are going to punish everyone for a small group of people managing to cheat is stupid. And I feel like that's
yeah,
what a majority of education boards do, कि आप कुछ लोगों की गलती की वजह से आप सबको punish करते हो, which is the dumbest thing that I've personally seen. But it is what it is, and
it is what it
I
is.
and I feel like that's the sort of attitude that's also letting these people get away with it. We're
Mm-hmm.
all just so exhausted from everything. We don't want to fight at this point. We're just like, if someone come either do it for us or just fix yourself
Yeah,
khud se yaar, because humse nahi ho raha, right?
yeah.
We've all gotten to that point where we just need a break, whether it's from education as a whole or whether from the constant problems that life has brought on. No one was prepared for this sort of
Mhm.
style of life, and having to adapt to it now is obviously.
I know. It's crazy to think about like a year ago where we were and
Mhm.
now. It's just insane. Like life has changed drastically. Like I would have never thought this is where I'd be a year ago.
Exactly, and it's like everything has just been impacted, right? Because
Hmm.
of just being indoors. A lot of people from my profession have just been halted. A lot of people
Hmm.
on YouTube have just quit YouTube because they're like कि हम कुछ कर ही नहीं सकते, we can't go out, we
Yeah.
can't make videos. So they're just like this is our primary stream of revenue and it's not earning us anything. So they just ended up quitting. So
Hard.
it's hard.
I'm so sorry.
It's hard. So yeah, it's difficult, but I think a good balance needs to be found wherein maybe we could come to a sort of way कि जिन्हें physical जाना है वो physical चले जाएं, but then जिन्होंने online जाना है उनको आप you're still providing that sort of facility, but फिर उसका वही होगा ना
Yeah.
कि आप किस तरीके से manage करो कि दोनों को कुछ ना कुछ मिल रहा है and we're both at like equal footing, not one gets more advantage than the other. So I feel like it's difficult to sort of be able to find that sort of balance, but it's not up to kids like us. We shouldn't have to be racking our brains in how to fix our education systems. The
I
education
know.
system, they're so wrong. There's so many things that are wrong with the education system. And one of my biggest goals with Project Vanchala is to actually get an educator or someone from like actually someone who's part of the education system, like a principal or someone who runs a school who knows all of these problems and is actually willing to listen and learn from us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of my
You
biggest
should. That would
goals.
be really cool. That'd be a
If
really
any
cool
of you
podcast.
knows someone who might be interested in coming on to Project Mansura, or if any of you who's listening who's actually fitting the sort of criteria that I just described, drop me an email. We can set something up and it would be great.
Oh my
We can
god,
organize.
that would be a really cool podcast.
I
I
feel
would
like
love
that
to
just might
watch
be
that.
there might just be that one thing that kicks me off. You never know.
Hmm.
I might go viral.
Hmm.
I might be the next David
Maybe this is the
Dobrik.
podcast that gets viral. Okay, I'm here. I'm the
It
one who's
could.
gonna
I
get
mean, you
you.
have like 10,000 friends, so it might.
No, I don't.
But
But
everyone knows you. Everyone knows you.
is that why you wanted me on your podcast just for clout?
No, no, no.
Just so your 10,000 friends could follow me.
No. I wanted you on here because I appreciate you, and I value your opinion, and you're
Aw,
cute.
thank
So
you. And because we had like this really interesting conversation on
exactly,
Twitter.
exactly.
The thread was like really, we were going off. We were like, yeah, but this,
Yes. Okay, but no. Or
but
not.
this. Yeah,
But no,
so
yeah, I feel like the main consensus that we keep coming back to is that it's fine. It could be better,
yeah, for
but
sure.
it's also not fine. It also needs to be a lot better.
Mhm.
I
And
feel like
teachers
if
need to be more accommodating. Please,
no
if you're a
teachers need to be
teacher.
accommodating in every capacity, even if it's not just online. Teachers need to be a lot more accommodating because the world is freaking ending. I've seen multiple posts online
Literally.
of students saying, "Hey, listen, someone very close to me just died. Can I please get an extension for a day or two? Can I please be excused?" They're like,
Hmm.
"No, this is happening to everyone. Get over it."
I know. And people think teachers think that people are making this as an excuse. A friend of mine also, like she was like, my khalu passed away and I can't
Mhm.
do class right now. She's like, are you sure? Like, is this just an excuse you're using? Like, how can you say that? Like,
Tikku,
how can you?
I'm gonna be that person who's like, oh, but let me be the devil's advocate. The thing is, I do understand where these teachers are coming from because understanding how students and people are, I would not be surprised if someone was using that as an excuse. Because the thing is, there are genuinely terrible people in the world who would make excuses like that. Like we've often heard the trope where people are like, "Oh, my grandmother died. That's why I didn't come to school the other day." These were tropes for normal life. So,
Yeah,
would you honestly put it past people to make excuses like these for online learning, where there's no
I
accountability?
I I get that, but like it's still like you could show
Benefit of the
some
doubt, yeah,
sympathy.
benefit of doubt is definitely necessary right now,
Mm-hmm.
given current times, and it's definitely something that they should consider, irrespective of whether it's true or not, dude. People need breaks for whatsoever reason.
Yeah.
I've personally had my screen time go up exponentially, even though all of my work in my life is online and on my laptop.
Mm-hmm.
I've ended up in front of this computer screen for much longer than I previously would have liked. That's why I end up
Same.
using these glasses more often. These are not prescription glasses, by the way. These are computer glasses. That's why I
Blue
just use
light
them.
filter ones?
Yes,
Are
blue
these the,
light.
yeah, even I have those because my eyes started watering after
Hmm.
online class.
Yeah.
My
So
dad,
you,
yeah.
yeah, we've had parents just worried about, okay, yes, you're gonna die in front of this computer. We're like, probably
My
that will happen.
my dad walks into my room and he's like, "We're still studying." I was like, "I have assignments," and he's like, "Dude, like you've been on this chair for hours," and I'm like, "Yeah, my back hurts. Like I don't know what to do. Like there's just so much work." I don't think
One of the
workload
big
has decreased.
workload has not decreased. I feel like if anything, it's increased by a certain
Hmm.
amount because a teacher is like, oh, you're at home. It's fine.
Yeah.
You have time. Do it.
Honestly, I feel like university was 24/7 when my
Hmm.
semester was going on. There was no break. I remember like one of these kids I knew, he got this quiz that he had to do the next day, told at 12 a.m. or something.
Dude,
And I
that
was like,
happens way
how?
too often in
Like,
university. That happens
what?
way too
You
often.
can't do this.
Like I've
But
heard of
like,
that
come
happening to
on.
students even during like normal times. That is messed up. A lot of teachers and university admin needs to learn about what time is appropriate to
Yeah.
be messaging or calling a student.
Mhm.
University admin needs to understand that there's a certain time period. मतलब यार this is shit that my mom tells me कि बेटा रात को एक certain time पर किसी को फोन नहीं करते, गलत बात होती है.
Yeah. Especially like, a professional email, you don't do that after like when it's really
Professional email तो
late.
छोड़ो, मुझे WhatsApp आ रहे होते हैं यार रात को.
Oh my god.
So it's
I
difficult,
got
you know.
it is.
But it is what it is. But I hate that it is what it is. Be better.
No.
Not that hard. It's small steps you can do to just make a huge difference. Teachers can be a little more accommodating. They can have a little bit of heart. I understand that it's difficult. I understand that they're probably just as exhausted as we are. But it's not that hard to be a better person just to make a small difference in someone else's life.
Mm, for sure.
I feel like Manchara is slowly just becoming me ranting to the screen
It's
and
a
my guest would
therapy
be like, no, no, it's
session for us.
understandable. I understand. The guest is like, no, you're right. I'm just like ranting for the
Yeah.
entire hour. And the guest is like,
Yeah. Abbas uses Project Manchula as therapy.
for sure. Dude, Manchana has literally just become me talking about stuff that I wanted to talk about and no one was listening. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. मैं फिर भी बोलूंगा. I'm still gonna talk about it.
Yeah, I love
कोई
it.
सुने ना
I love
सुने.
to see it.
I
No,
feel like
but
that's one of the
ever since
reasons
you've
why
been
it's
doing
working
these,
as well, right? Okay, the fact that I don't have like a set theme. I'm like, okay, today I want to talk about cooking
yeah,
shows. I'm gonna do it. That's what I love about Manchara so
I
far.
love it. I
That's
love
what I
it.
think. That's what I think season 2 needed as well. Okay, a revamp of sorts. Okay, there's no
I
set
love the
guidelines anymore.
collabs you've been doing with people. Like having other people on. It's
Hmm.
been really different perspectives about the same thing.
Hmm.
It's quite fun.
It's also
I've
been
been
really
loving
nice
it.
to finally get to this sort of point because I've wanted to have people on for the longest time, but one of the biggest issues being
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the equipment for it. It's made things very, very
Mm-hmm.
difficult. I haven't had the equipment to get people on for the longest time, and I probably still don't. The only way that I'd be allowed to is to probably get them to come to my university and then use the university equipment to do it. But again, COVID, so trying not to.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
inshallah, coming season 3, hopefully things will be better by that point. Or, we'll try and find some
Yes.
loophole and I will try to have physical guests coming on very soon, just so we can up the quality a little bit.
That would be cool.
But yes, I've genuinely
Yeah,
been
that would be
enjoying
really cool.
doing Project Mansala this past year. I feel like Mansala really helped me to constantly have something to do and have this emotional outlet, like you mentioned. Okay, it does help. It helps to get all of this
Yeah.
badass out of me. I'm just like, yes. So it's good.
Yeah.
But it also gives me an opportunity. Honestly, Manchara is just an excuse for me to talk to my friends again. That's literally it. I'm gonna be straightforward. It is an excuse for me to talk to my friends. I don't care. किसी ने सुनना है तो सुन लो, वो मसला थोड़ी है. But yeah, that's more or less I think the crux of
But
it.
it's okay.
But yeah. So in any case, do you think you have anything to add to the conversation, or like any point do you think we missed out on
Am I
anything?
stuck? Or am I stuck?
Someone will stop.
I think I'm stuck.
No, you're fine.
Okay, no, I'm fine. I thought I was stuck
No.
because I cannot see you move. Yeah.
No.
Sorry, what
But
were
yeah,
you
so
saying?
do you think we missed out on anything, or is there anything that else that you wanted to mention?
Heard all of it.
Awesome.
Just really hoping things go back to normal, inshallah, whatever the normal is now.
I feel like the normal also is probably going to be a lot different than what we were used to. Life is going to have to adapt to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Inshallah, even with like COVID being tackled now, with the vaccine and whatnot, I definitely feel like life is going to have to be different to a certain degree. And a lot of people are probably not going to be willing to adapt to that sort of change or ready for that sort of change. But, aista aista karke, I'm hoping for the better, and life might just be better to a certain degree. But yeah, let's just wait and
Yeah.
see, I guess. In any case,
Inshallah, it'll be all better.
in any case, thank you so much for coming on, Fatma. It was lovely having you as a guest. And
I'm so happy I'm here. It was so fun.
we've been planning this since season 1, actually. Like this wasn't even like
I
season 2, say.
know.
We've been planning this for
I
over a
know.
year. And
We
honestly, being able
have.
to
We
finally
have.
do it has just been amazing. But
Yeah, that's why when I was free, I texted you. I was like, let's do it. Like,
dude, I loved how spontaneous it was. Just like, oh, Fatma texted me like last night. Oh, hey, I'm free now. I'm like, okay, कल करते हैं. कल 1:30
yeah,
बजे
I was
शुरू
like,
करते
let's
हैं.
do it.
But yeah,
Literally.
that's another positive of online life. Manjala every day. But yeah, it was great having you on, Fatma. I loved having you here. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
on.
you for having me.
I hope you guys enjoyed listening and watching to
Thank you
us.
for having
But
me.
if there's any other topic that you would like for me to discuss with someone, if you would like for me to have a specific guest on, be sure to leave it down in the comments below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining us on Project Manshala. We hope you guys will tune in for the very next episode. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.
Again.